Hey guys, it is Game Sam here and I'm back with another video, and today's video is going to be another bad business video. But today, boys, I'm coming back at you guys with another top 5 list, but today's top 5 list is going to be for the top 5 DLC weapons. These are the weapons that you should be aiming for. If you want to get something for the DLCs, you could just get the pass and get a whole bunch of weapons, but these are the ones that I feel like you should be aiming for when you're going for these weapons. So the first weapon that I put at a number 5, okay, is going to be the M1 Grand. It's the lowest on the tier, but it's not the worst, alright? So I'm not saying that number 5 is the worst. So 1 through 5, I only have chosen 5. There's like 10 or 13 or 14, a lot of DLC weapons, but most of them are melees. And other than these, there's only like one other one that's really kind of viable. But the M1 Grand is kind of just like the SKS. It's a 2-shot to the body. But if you hit the legs, it's going to have to be a 3-shot because you're going to be hitting for 70. But it's going to be a 1-shot headshot all the way up to the 200 stud range. And it has a 250 fire rate, which is just a 50 more fire rate than the SKS. But it has 2 less bullets than the SKS, coming in at 8 bullets. And the handling speed is just a tad bit faster than the SKS. The reason why I am comparing this to the SKS is because the SKS and the M1 Grand are very, very similar coming to their stats. They're almost the same weapon practically. Just one is more sexier than the other. Because look at this, everyone knows the M1 Grand, and everyone knows what the M1 Grand brings. Let's just go ahead and roll it real quick. Oh, so clean, so clean. But yeah, coming in at number 5 is going to be the M1 Grand. M1 Grand, pretty great gun, to be honest. And then coming in at number 4, boys, is going to be the rolling block rifle. Another rifle. Yes, the rifles, I feel like, in my opinion, are very, very slept on. 1-shot capability to the head easy, and they're just like a sniper. They're just like better snipers, except you only 1-shot headshot in the head, which most snipers you can only do that with. They have lower velocity and they have more bullet drop than a sniper, but they're just still practically snipers, and that's what the rolling block rifle is. It practically is a sniper. I don't understand why they put it in the rifle category. Should have been in the sniper rifle category, because it's literally just a sniper rifle. It's a 1-shot to the body and to the head, all the way up to a 350 stud range. It's a 1-shot. It's going to become a 2-shot whenever you hit in the legs, but it's a 1-shot in the torso all the way up to the head. The handling is outstanding too. It only has 1 bullet. That's the downside. But the downside is also a plus side, because you only have 1 bullet. It's practically just like pulling a bolt back on a sniper rifle. And the fire rate's already faster than the AWP, or very close to the AWP. And its mobility is pretty fast. And you could run iron sights automatically, or you could put on the lightweight scope and make it an actual sniper, and that's where it really shines. Rolling block rifle is such a nice weapon. It is so good to use. It's so fun to use. It's so versatile. The hip fire on it too is so good. You could just walk around hip firing people, and that's why it comes in at number 4. Even though the drawbacks are is it only has 1 bullet. That's only its real major drawback. It only has 1 bullet. So if you miss that 1 shot, you're gonna have to wander a little bound, do a little jig, do a little dancing jig, the reloading jig, and then come back into the fight, and then hope to God that you hit your next shot, because if you don't, you're gonna have to do the jig again. But that's why it comes in at number 4. But I did put it ahead of the M1 Grand just because it does have 1-shot capability at a pretty insane range. It's probably the best sniper in bad business. The DSR, it has the power of a DSR almost. It doesn't have infinite range, but it has a pretty high enough range. 350 studs is a long way for a 1-shot. But yeah, that's why it comes in at number 4. Number 3, I am putting the Sten Gun. Sten Gun, why I put it here is because it's a pretty good SMG. It's the 2nd best SMG DLC. The fire rate is very good on it. It kind of shoots kind of slow, but it shoots at 660 fire rate. That's a moderate fire rate. The magazine's 30, and the mobility is 100 with it. So you're getting max mobility with it. But the damage comes in at 32 to the leg, 34 to the body, and 48 to the head, all the way up to 125 stud range. But that's not where the capabilities come in. You look at the stats, you hear the stats, they sound pretty average, but when you start using the weapon, it is insane. Like you guys see in the gameplay, you could just wander around with it. The hip fire is insane. You can just walk around hip firing people. Stick vertical grip on this if you want. Walk around hip firing people. People are not going to be able to stand you. I don't know what's up with the weapon, but the weapon is just so good at hip firing. Everybody knows that the Sten is just good at hip firing, which is the weirdest thing. Like, it's so good at being something that it's not advertising itself to be. But this thing is just a hip firing weapon, and it hits pretty hard, and it's just a really good SMG. I would use this in just like normal games, still dominate. It's a really, really good SMG still. It would outgun some SMGs maybe. Just depends on your play style, but pretty great SMG. Downside is that maybe it's gonna be too average for your liking. Maybe you're looking for the very spectacular one, but I feel like the mobility really makes up for it, just because you can zoom around everybody. But I feel like the hipfire is just so good on it. For some reason I feel like it just has better RNG than anything else. I don't hit as many hipfires as I do with the Sten. The Sten, you could just walk around with it. It has this like weird magical ability to it. It's weird, but that's why it comes in at number 3. Number 2, boys, this is gonna be a little controversial, but I'm putting the G11 there. The G11 is pretty good. It's a really good rifle. You just have to getting used to burst and not having to rush up with it. You just have to play a little bit slow with it, because it is a very long range weapon and it dominates at long range. It's a long range weapon that absolutely stellar in long range. The iron sight for it is going to be like this little ACOG, this little default ACOG. I wish that sight would become like a different sight for like other stuff, you know? The G11 sight, that would be pretty cool. But it's only for the G11, which kind of stinks. But as you guys can see, I'm running a lightweight scope on it, because the lightweight scope, it makes it feel like the PO6 from BO3. I don't know if you guys ever seen that, but it's a 3-burst sniper rifle. This is what this practically is. It's a 3-burst sniper rifle. The damages go 38, 42, 58. That's a 3-shot headshot, 1 burst, and then watch this, okay? It dips from 175 studs, and then it starts dipping down, and once it flatlines again, it's gonna start flatlining again at 325 studs. But at that range, you're still doing 26.6 to 29.4 to 40.6, and that's the lowest you could do. This thing is an absolute beast. You just have to sit back in the back, snipe people with it. It's just a 3-burst sniper rifle. That's what the G11 is. The fire rate is much slower than the Moss, almost by half. So that's why you can't really rush up with it unless you're going to be super accurate with it and hit every single burst that you're putting out. But I feel like this thing is going to be dominating at long range. It is just hitting so hard, and that's why it's higher than the other ones, because the rolling block rifle only has 1 shot, but it can 1 shot, but it only has 1 shot. The M1 Grand has only 8 bullets. Those things zoom by quick. It can 2 shot. It can 1 shot, but it's going to hit for 100, hitting big, but not big enough. The G11 has a magazine of 48 bullets at the 3-burst round. It shoots in bursts of 3. The handling is 83 and the mobility is 88. With the damage range of this, with the magazine of this, and with the magnetivity of the sights that you can put on this thing is practically just a 3-burst sniper rifle that I've been asking for. I may be using it a bit more, but I would love to see something like PO6 to come into bad business, just like a 3-burst actual sniper rifle. But I think this is the closest we're gonna get, and I can't really be mad at that. It's a really good at what it does, so that's why it comes in at number 2. Now the number 1. Oh boys, I am so happy. You guys don't understand. I've been riding with this thing ever since I laid my eyes on it. This beautiful, stellar, absolutely mastercrafted weapon, the SMO3. The SMO3 has gotten the biggest buff since it first came out. When it first came out, it was okay. It was okay. It still had the 40 to 45 to 50 damage that we still do have now at 100 studs, but the damage drop off was horrendous. You were hitting like 9 to 12 from like 5 billion miles away, and you weren't doing nothing. You were just tickling them from afar. But now this thing has gotten the biggest buff, the Honey Badger. With the past nerfs that have been happening and many other high power weapons getting nerfed, this thing has gotten a buff. It got a buff when all the weapons ranges got tweaked and stuff, and because of that, they ended up buffing this thing so much, and I can't be happier. Ever since I laid my eyes on this weapon, I loved it. I've always loved it. This is my favorite weapon. This weapon is so good. I was riding on it before it was even good, so it wasn't so good. I just really liked the weapon. And let me tell you why the traits why I love this weapon. We're just going to be talking about it now, though. The reason why I love this weapon is because it had high damage in close range, but now it does 45. It does 40, 45 to 50 in the 100 studs, but then it dips down and it reaches its flatline point again at 175 studs, and the lowest it can do is 26 to 29.25 to 32.5. This thing's still hitting really hard. That's 6 shots to you from afar with this weapon. And I'm telling you, 6 shots is all you need. This thing is absolutely insane. It has little to no recoil at all. The recoil is almost non-existent. All you have to do is put flash hider if you want to control the recoil. Other than that, there's no recoil on this thing. This thing has the lowest recoil of all time. It's almost like the G36C recoil, but the power of an AK put inside of an SMG body, so you get the mobility of 100 with this thing. The handling is at 90. The magazine's at 30. That may sound bad, but this fire rate is shooting at 600, so you're not going to be blasting, zooming through this magazine. This thing's moderately going out. That's a good fire rate for the power this is putting out with the magazine it has. It's the perfect weapon. It's just stellar in all of its ranges. Because of its no recoil, you could beam people with it, and with the recent buff, you can actually do damage from afar with it, so this thing is an absolute beast from afar still. And if somebody decides to hop into your face, you guys are seeing in the clips, they just go gone. They're poof, bye-bye. I poofed them out of existence. I said, hey, I Thanos snapped you. This thing dominates in close range, still good at long range, and has little to no recoil. This thing is just an overall great gun now. The biggest buff since that damage range buff. This thing has gotten the best treatment, and I couldn't ever be happier with it. I love this thing so much. This is my favorite weapon of all time in Bad Business. The only thing that I would say that's bad about this weapon is its iron sights. The iron sights are horrendous for a DLC weapon. Out of all of the DLC weapons, this iron sight is atrocious, but I still love it. I like the iron sight personally. Everybody hates it because it's so like small and compact, and like I get why they hate it. You can't really see as much, but I feel like I can still see a little bit more. It's kind of like the FAMAS iron sights, but just put on side an SMG. This thing has like the blood of the old gods in it, bro. This is like the Wonder Woman of all guns. It's just a hybrid of everything. It's amazing. The SMO3, I absolutely love this weapon. The only thing I would say right away too, please keep the handle sight on this thing. I'm sick and tired of putting a sight on it and it gets, look at it. It looks so flat. Disgusting. What is this? But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you guys did, make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe for more Bad Business content and other gaming content. And I hope this list did help you guys out for the people that are looking out for weapons to buy. Because like I would suggest buying the DLC weapons instead of buying the weapons that are already in the leveling system. But if you really want a weapon that's in the leveling system, then go ahead and buy that one. Just do you with what you want. But I'm hope this list is mostly for the people that want to like buy the weapons instead of and level up to the weapons that are in the leveling up system. So I'm hoping this list can help you out choose the weapon that you so desire. I know there's only 5 of them, but other than that, other than the other 5 that I just named in here, all the other ones aren't really good. Like you have the STG, but the STG is kind of just like a worse AK, and it's really bad. It hits really hard. It hits insanely hard. If you get good with it, you're gonna dominate everything. But you're just gonna get outgunned by its slow fire rate, and it's just a worse AK. The AK is just like a better STG. The AK just does its job a bit better than the STG does. And then you have the Tommy gun as a DLC weapon for the SMGs, as the other DLC weapon SMG, and it ain't really good. It has 20 bullets. It hits for like 20, 32, 42. The iron sight's garbage. The Scar Hammer, I would say, is the only other viable one, but you would have to ramp up your fire rate or use the glitch. But other than that, you only have 50 bullets, and those 50 bullets go by so quick, and if you don't miss your bullets, it's just a weird weapon. But I feel like you get good with it. It's good. That's the only weapon out of this list that I feel like is going to be viable. Everything else just sucks. All the other DLC weapons are bad. The jackhammer, I say, for the shotguns in the model 1887. Those are just fun weapons. You can use them. They're shotguns, so that of course you're just going to still be dominating with them. And the special weapons, they're all very fun weapons, but none of them are meta. None of them you're going to be dominating, absolutely pounding people with. And don't get me started with the melees. Oh my god. Don't remind me of the medieval times. Not again, man. Not the medieval times. But yeah, guys, I hope you guys did enjoy, and yeah, I'll see you guys later. This is Gaming Sam. Peace out.